Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the next session. In the previous session, we dealt with techniques of scientific management. The first technique that we studied was functional foremanship. In today's session, we will begin with another technique of scientific management as propounded by Taylor, that is standardization and simplification of work. Taylor was a strong supporter of standardization. Taylor opposed a rule of thumb. He said that management is a science. He believed in investigating the traditional methods, not just blindly following the traditional methods. Instead, he believed in investigating the traditional methods, identifying the best practices, and those practices must be developed as a standard practice which will be followed throughout the organization. This can be done through work study techniques, that is, time study, motion study, fatigue study, and method study. What does standardization means? Standardization refers to the process of setting standards for every business activity and seeing to it that all the business activities are performed as per the standards which has been set. Standards can be set for every business activity. Let it be for a process, for purchase of raw material, for production, product, time, machinery, method, or working condition. For all of the business activities, standards can be set. These standards are the benchmark which must be adhered to during the process of production. Now, what are the objectives of standardization? Standardization will ensure that the product are of fixed type, size, characteristics. The product must not vary. Maintaining a standard is important. Standardization establish interchangeability of the manufactured parts and products. It also establish standard of excellence and quality in material, not only for the product or the material being used, but standardization also establish standard for performance of men along with machineries. When you maintain a standard with performance of men, machines, with a quality of material, then ultimately you are able to ensure product standardization as well. Standardization implies devising new variety instead of existing one, whereas simplification they aims at eliminating unnecessary diversity of product, so that if you eliminate unnecessary diversity of product, it will help you to reduce the cost of labor, machines, and tools. Simplification will help you to increase the turnover by making optimum utilization of the equipment and materials. There are 4 work study techniques propounded by Taylor, that is method study, motion study, time study, and fatigue study. First is method study. The objective of method study is to find out one best way for doing the job. We know that in order to perform any activity, there would be n number of alternatives, n number of ways from which the task can be accomplished. Method study aims at identifying the one best method which must be used for accomplishment of the task out of the various methods available. Now, how will you find out that one best method? It can be done using process chart, operational research, etc. What is the advantage of identifying that one best method for performing the job. If you identify the best practice for performing the job, then it will help you to minimize the cost of production, maximize the quality of the product, and improve the satisfaction of consumers. Right from procurement of raw material till the final product is being delivered to the customer, every activity is a part of method study, because right from the procurement of raw material till the product is being sold to the consumers, various activities are performed, such as inventory management, production, sale of the good, marketing technique, marketing strategies to be used, channels of distribution to sell the product to the ultimate consumers, and number of activities are involved in between this process. Method study aims to find out one best method for each of the activity. Next, motion study. Motion study refers to the study of movement, like lifting, putting object, sitting and changing positions, which are undertaken while doing a typical job. When you do a particular job, movements will be there. Movements of either it can be movement of raw material or movement of men. An organization consists of resources, human resource and material resource. There will be movement of human and material resources. When you identify the movement, you would be able to understand which movement or motions are productive so that you can continue with that motions. You can identify which motions are identical, as well as you would be able to identify which motions are unproductive so that you can eliminate such motions. On the close examination of body motions, you would be able to find out all of these so that unnecessary movements can be eliminated. In case of elimination of such unnecessary movements, it will help to accomplish the job more efficiently and effectively, and ultimately help to increase the productivity. Time study. It determines the standard time that is required to perform a well-defined job. The method of time study will depend upon the volume and frequency of the task, the cycle time of the operation, and time measurement cost. What is the importance of time study? Time study will help you to determine the time that is required for the accomplishment of job, as well as help to determine the number of workers to be employed to perform that task, frame suitable incentive schemes, as well as determine the labor cost. For example, on the basis of several observations, it is determined that standard time taken by worker to make one cardboard box is 20 minutes. So, if 20 minutes is required to make one cardboard box, then how many such boxes can be made in 1 hour? 3 boxes. If the working hour of the worker is 8, out of which let us deduct 1 hour for rest and lunch, so he will be working for 7 hours. If he is able to prepare 3 cardboard box in 1 hour, then totally in 7 hours, how many cardboard box he would be able to prepare? 21 box. Now this is the standard task a worker has to do. That is, 21 box has to be prepared by a worker in 1 day. Assume that 1 lakh cardboard box need to be prepared in 1 month. Now, on the basis of this target and on the basis of the standard task of a worker, You would be able to analyze how many workers are required to reach the target, as well as you would be able to decide the wages of the workers. Time study helps you to identify the standard time that is required for accomplishment of task, as well as the workers that need to be employed to achieve the target, along with deciding the wage and other incentive schemes for the workers. Next is fatigue study. We know that if a person works continuously without break, he is bound to feel tired physically and mentally. And if he does not rest for a while, then his stamina will get deteriorated and he would not be able to work more with the same capacity. Fatigue study says that a person is bound to feel tired physically and mentally if he works and do not take rest while working. Hence, rest interval will help to regain the stamina and work again with the same capacity. This will help to increase the productivity. Now, fatigue study seeks to determine the amount and the frequency of rest intervals that need to be given. Because if the rest interval that is given for the worker is for longer period of time, then the worker might become lazy. If the rest interval that is given for the worker is too short, then he might not be able to completely regain his stamina. Hence, determining the amount and frequency of the rest interval is an important task. A person is bound to get tired if he is working for long working hours, doing unsuitable work, or having uncordial relation with the boss, or if there is bad working condition, then even that will lead to fatigue. Such hindrances in good performance should be analyzed and it must be removed so that it will increase the productivity of the worker as well as the company. Next, differential piece wage system. Taylor strongly advocated piece wage system. He wanted to differentiate efficient workers and inefficient workers, which was possible to do with the help of differential piece wage system. The standard time and other parameters should be determined on the basis of the work study. Now we have studied time study, motion study, fatigue study, method study, on the basis of which it was necessary to identify what would be the standard time required to complete the task and what would be the standard work that a worker need to perform. If this standard work is determined, then it would be able to differentiate efficient workers and inefficient workers by comparing their performance with the standards. He wanted to reward efficient workers, so he introduced differential piece wage system. His differential piece wage system not only helped to reward the efficient workers, but it also helped to convert the inefficient workers to efficient workers. How it was possible? Let's see it with an example. Assume the standard output per worker per day is production of 10 units. If the worker meet the standard, he will be given rupees 50 per unit, that is per product. And those who perform below standard, they will be getting rupees 40 per unit. In that case, suppose efficient worker makes 11 units, means how much amount he will receive? He will receive 550 per day, that is 11 units he has produced and 50 per unit. 11 into 50, 550 per day that worker will be receiving. Assume there is another employee who has produced 9 units. In that case, he has not met the standard. He will be not receiving rupees 50 per unit. Instead, he will be receiving rupees 40 per unit. 9 into 40, that is 360 per day. You can observe the difference. Efficient employee has produced 2 units more. But the difference in the amount is 190 rupees, and this difference of rupees 190 should be enough for the inefficient worker to be motivated and perform better next time. Hence, differential piece wage system helped to identify efficient workers and inefficient workers, reward the efficient workers and motivate the inefficient workers as well. Next, mental revolution. Mental revolution was propounded by Taylor, in which he says that it is necessary to change the mindset of workers and management. He believed that both must realize that they require one another. Management and workers must change their attitude from competition to cooperation. For successful running of the organization, management and workers are equally important. He said that the management should share a part of surplus with workers in order to motivate them. And even workers must contribute and work with their maximum efficiency in order to increase the profits of the company. This mental revolution will be helpful to all, to workers, to management, as well as to the company. How workers will be getting more incentives in case if they work efficiently. Management would be in a better position to get the things work done from the workers, and ultimately the profit of the company will be increased. Mental revolution was beneficial for all the parties, that is workers, management and company.